Well, I think this is both, for me, personal. You will remember I lost my uncle to COVID. We couldn't visit him in hospital. We couldn't have a proper burial for him because of the restrictions. And, of course, it's very public because I'm Secretary of State for Education. I'm part of the team that delivered the vaccines, of course. And I think the Prime Minister understands the level of hurt in the country for people sacrificed, people missed loved ones who they can't turn the clock back on. He said at dispatch box that I wish I could turn the clock back and go back to that 20th of May in the garden. He spent 25 minutes to what he perceived to be supporting his staff and encouraging them. And he wishes he hadn't done that. He wishes that he'd said, look, get back to your desk because this is wrong. I hope, by the way, I say this sincerely, I hope that I watched Keir Starmer's interview yesterday with Sophie Raworth, that he also apologised, because I think it's only right
I will deal with that with Labour.
Of course, but I'm just saying that we all have a duty to do the right thing. I think what the Prime Minister has said, we've had the apology, now we need the details. And Sue Gray will take her evidence and conduct her inquiry and report swiftly. And the PM has said he will submit himself back to Parliament to a statement and be questioned on that. And I think that's the right thing to do. I think that is the fair thing to do. So I hope people will allow him the ability to respond to a thorough inquiry by a very senior civil servant.
Reports over the weekend, 2 people have come forward to say that they personally warned the Prime Minister that the email invitation said that it was a party and it shouldn't go ahead. He says that's not true. Why do you believe him?
Because I think he's absolutely right when he says it's not true, because I think ultimately the Sue Gray investigation will be able to look at all that, and he's obviously submitted himself to that investigation. And Sue Gray, as I know the civil service and how they will conduct their inquiry, it will be thorough in terms of looking at emails, looking at correspondence, looking at everything. And I think it's important that she does that, but it's not true that the Prime Minister knew about this. He implicitly thought this was a work event. He went from, I think, 6 p.m. to 6:25 and then back to his desk. And I think it's only right that we wait for that.
We know the facts, though, don't we, Mrs Zahawi? We know that there were trestle tables with peanuts and goodness knows what else. We know that there was booze. We know that at the time only 2 people could meet socially distanced outside. People were literally putting their hand on the glass at care homes because they couldn't go in to see their loved ones. And the Prime Minister wants us to believe that he spent 25 minutes having a drink and thinking it wasn't a party.
All I can say to you is I completely understand how people feel angry about this. I think the Prime Minister himself
Let me just show you some pictures from this. This was one of the constituencies over the weekend. People have got lies written all over. Not that one, the other one. We'll come back to that one in just a second. This one, they've got lies written all over their constituency offices. And
as I said to you, that is not the anger, and the level of hurt is not lost on me or my family or anyone else. So I absolutely share that. All I would say is, we have to allow the investigation to take place. Why? Because that's the fair thing to do. You don't condemn a man without a thorough investigation. I think Sue Gray will conduct that and will report that.
She's the most famous woman in Britain at the moment, isn't she? Everybody's saying her name. What about this? This was obviously a cartoon in the Evening Standard reflecting on Her Majesty sitting on her own the day after the doors were coming off Number 10, people breaking swings, taking a suitcase to get booze, having a DJ in the basement. Come on.
And that is one of the most, the photographic image was one of the most painful images, I think, that will endure with all of us, with the nation.
But
for anyone who's lost loved ones, as
the nation's mocking
families
you.
have done up and down the country. I can absolutely say to you that the Prime Minister feels the pain, which is why he came to Parliament, delivered an apology, said
he went into
all
the
he
tea
asks.
rooms afterwards and say, shouldn't really have apologised, but sometimes you've just got to do it.
Well, that's hearsay and reporting. That's not true. That's not the Prime Minister that I've spoken to.
Someone who I trust implicitly told me that he'd had that conversation with the Prime Minister.
Well, look, if that someone who's prepared to come on your show and talk about it, all I can say to you is I've spoken to the Prime Minister and I know how much he recognises the pain and that people went through, and which is why he apologised and he came forward and said, "Look, I'm sorry. Just allow this investigation to take place. That's all he's asking, and then he will submit himself to Parliament with a statement to be questioned." And
if he misled Parliament, should he have stepped down?
Well, first of all, let's wait for the investigation. I think it's only right. Remember, our British values are all about fairness, and you don't condemn an individual before having all the facts before you. The thing that you and I both know is that he's apologised, and I hope other politicians do the same thing when they've actually done something
when
wrong.
Labour come on, I'll speak to them about it. One of the other suggestions that was made by some of the backbenchers over the weekend was, if the Prime Minister is so confident that he's got the support of his party, why doesn't he put himself up for a vote of confidence and see how it goes?
Well, first of all, Prime Ministers don't. That's not how we operate.
It's happened before.
Well, you say that, but the Prime Minister, I think, has every right to focus on the job. We've got a big levelling up agenda. We've got a levelling up white paper, which my department has been contributing to make sure that things like literacy, numeracy, levelling up is all about human capital, and education is the levelling up department. So we're doing tremendous work in that area, and you're going to hear more from me on this. You're going to hear more on the work we're doing on the cost of living. £4.2 billion to help people with the cost of living. I know it's something that I think Sky and other channels have been running today. The help we're doing in April, you get £9.50 for the national living wage. We're moving the taper for people on universal credit to help them with the cost of living. All these things are what the Prime Minister is focused on at the moment. That is the right thing to do. And I think it's right that he apologised. And it's right that he says, look, I will submit myself to Parliament once Sue Gray is reported with all the facts. And I think you'll find that that is the way we conduct ourselves in this country. Let's see what she has to say.
The week after next, I think, is when we're going to hear from her.
Well,
is that right?
she can obviously
she works
doing
for the Prime
it
Minister,
swiftly.
of course, which is tricky.
But the civil service, as you know, and this is a civil servant of the highest level of experience and integrity, and I think it's only right that she can take the evidence wherever it leads, and she has every right to do that.